Rolling audio and video.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Jim Ross, everyone. Dude, you would be bringing the house down right now.
Yeah. All these COVID people are just going crazy.
Right? Dude, I appreciate you stopping by.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You bribed me with a 6-pack.
I did, which I did not buy. But you didn't tell me which 6-pack.
Oh, I do remember last week you were saying, "What's your favorite beer, Jim?" And I was thinking, he's asking for a reason. And I told you my favorite beer was Asahi.
Asahi.
Yeah,
I do remember
and
that.
I'm like, hey, I bet you there's going to be a 6-pack Asahi in the refrigerator. And
No, that was the beginning of the show. Oh, my God. Calling me out. Where would I even get that? Like at just a regular...
At the liquor store, yeah.
I don't even know if there's a liquor store around here.
Yeah, we're in Buford. There's liquor stores around here.
Really? You'd know more about Buford than me, yeah?
Well, I don't live in Buford, but I do know that
there's Asahi somewhere.
There's what they say. The Protestants don't recognize the Pope. Uh-huh. The Jews don't recognize Jesus, and the Baptists don't recognize each other in the liquor store.
Who said this? That's a great saying, man.
Because we're in Baptist country, so of course there's going to be plenty of liquor stores in Baptist country.
Isn't that weird? And then you can't buy anything on a Sunday.
Well, now you can.
Until what? Doesn't it have to be noon?
No, you have to wait till noon, and I think the liquor stores have to close at 7. So it's 7. Still somewhat religious going on here,
Why are we playing this game, man?
Bible thumpers.
Jeez, Lou. So not a fan. No.
You give up things when you get older. You realize that Santa Claus isn't real and the Easter Bunny's not real. And
what?
I got this script that I've been playing around with for Bless Your Heart that you and I have worked together, and it's
Oh, she'll do that a little bit.
The whole thing is kind of based on the parents got to go. And I kind of got the idea from the show that we did with your employer 2 years ago that the girl was still believing in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So the father is breaking it to his 30-year-old son that there is no Santa Claus. It's about time you realize. And so the kid's like, what? Really? No Santa Claus? And then he goes, yeah, and I also got to tell you, the Easter Bunny's not real either. He goes, what? No Easter Bunny, man. And then the kid kind of lets out this, and I guess that all Jesus stuff is nothing but a bunch of shit too, right? And he goes, no, whoa, Jesus is real. And he goes, what? I can believe in flying reindeer, but, walking on water, rising from the dead. Come on, Dad. Santa Claus is more believable than that crap. The Bible can't even get their story straight.
Yeah.
And, so it's kind of this...
okay. So and this is a short you're doing for Bless Your Heart.
Well, yeah, it's a short I want to do for Bless Your Heart, but COVID kind of stuck a poker in it. But.
Yeah. I know some people that are working in amidst this whole thing, trying to do some shorts. Is Sloan one of them, you think?
I don't know about what Sloan's doing. I know I'm doing a short this coming weekend. I mean, not next weekend, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And the next Saturday and Sunday after that. So it's 4 days of shooting.
4 days. Okay.
4 days of shooting, all weekends, and it's a narrative, and it's a short. It's based on human trafficking. And it's a girl. It's kind of highlighting what this girl is going through. She's been abducted. Not only that, they're kind of forcing her to help abduct other kids for sexual sex trafficking, because it's a big deal. And it's just, I don't know.
You're in Atlanta, I know.
In Atlanta, we're supposed to be one of the hubs. And see, I had already done one sex trafficking thing with Sloan about 4 years ago. I did one. It was called The Cellar.
Like a short?
Yeah, it was a short.
Okay.
And but it's showing that what terrible things that are going on right under our noses. But and I don't know why people are so quiet about it, because it's real. But we're going to be shooting on strict COVID conditions.
Sure.
And of course, you and I actually are. That's not hard for us, because you and I have gotten our wings, so to speak, working on independent stuff. So we're used to being the DP and the AD and the
multitasking,
AC, all multitasking.
Yeah,
so that's basically what we're doing here. Is we're going to be on set and we're going to have pretty much just the director and the DP. I'm going to be the gaffer, the lighting technician, the grip, and probably AC all together, because there's really only going to be like 4 of us on the team, so and a sound guy.
So super small.
And but it's not hard for people like you and I, because we've done that. I've worked on sets where there's a handful of people, and I've worked on Godzilla, King of the Monsters, where there were 100 people on set,
right, and
things that are in between. I've worked on other shows that did not have a huge crew, but we had 15, 20 people, and that's nice.
Sure.
But I really think that those days are going to be gone, and if not forever, but they are still going to be gone in another sense. Is that COVID? Unless we get some major vaccine, we're still going to be working under these. You can't have everybody crammed in. I mean, we both worked on sets where everybody was assholes to elbows. Let's face it. They're right up.
Oh well, sure.
And because like on Godzilla, King of the Monsters, it just showed you'd have 80 people standing around for 2 hours, doing nothing.
Indoors.
It's just to see if people like this on their phones, waiting to do something. But the idea is, when they want to turn it around, they want to do it in 5 minutes.
Sure.
They don't want, they don't want to take 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So they have 80 people, so they can turn everything around like that.
In no time, yeah.
And they would rather have those 80 people standing around for 2 or 3 hours, because they know they can flip that set in 5 minutes, rather than having 10 or 15 people who is going to take a half an hour or even an hour to flip the set. So you think about it, you're just like, why do they have this army of people on set? And the reason is because they can turn everything around.
Yeah, everything from the set to the cameras and everything else. Yeah.
So, but when if we're not going to be able to crowding 100 people onto a soundstage,
not safely.
We're going to have to go to ways that that a lot of us have worked on, is we work on sets where we're doubling up and tripling up, and if we're going to turn the set around for the next shot, it's going to take longer.
Sure.
And it's just going to be the way it is. It's going to be less people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we work on sets like that because that's the budget. You can't have 80 people standing around on the stuff that we've been party to. Even the commercial work that you and I have worked together. I mean, if we could have 20 people, the budgets would be 3 and 4 times what they would be.
For sure.
And so, the budgets are going to come down. And
so you think that Hollywood or more bigger motion pictures are going to adopt a more independent film style for the sake of creating the content?
Yeah, and that because, look what they're doing with The Mandalorian.
Okay.
And, they're putting a huge blockbuster look out.
It looks gorgeous, dude.
But they're using new technology and smaller crews because they could not be doing the show they're doing at the budgets that it would take to do a show like that. I take Lost in Space. It's a great show. I love that show. And it's
the one on Netflix?
Yeah, Lost in Space on Netflix.
Oh, dude.
And
amazing.
It is an amazing show. But it's not going to come back after this next season.
This last one, yeah.
And the reason that I read in American Cinematographer was the budget was just too high. They can't produce that show for the budgets that they have because it is a quality show. It's a very special effects heavy show.
I mean, to keep it at that level, I can only imagine each episode cost well above like $5 million.
Yeah, for real. Like that. So they've either got to come up with ways like The Mandalorian did with those projection screens, which is genius.
Is that how they did a lot of that?
They're doing a lot of it with the projections, like they did in the Tom Cruise one, Oblivion. They use these projectors so that when they're up in the clouds, everything you saw around was real, but because they went up with these red cameras and shot
in like 360
in 360, and then they projected them. So when you see the Mandalorian walking towards some desert, it's a stage, and everything is just projected.
Wow.
So because the projectors are using is just super high state of the art.
It must be, because I mean I could never tell.
So that's how they're able to make a show that looks like it's a $5 million an episode show
Out on location.
Yeah, and because it's not. It's in a soundstage. Wow. Some of it's done on location, but
probably
very little of it.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. The only way they could make that show for the budgets they have is to do that, because they're not going to go like they would for the other episodes.
Yeah.
Go out on location in the deserts and things like that. Not going to happen.
There's no way.
So more and more shows are going to have to figure out how to make a $5 million look with a $500,000 budget.
Sure.
And that's going to be...
Well, technology's making it a bit easier. Yeah. I mean, more cameras. Like right now, the Black Magic one. The one I think you told me about.
Yeah.
12K.
Yeah.
Unreal. 12K
camera. And
I don't even know how that looks like, how it could look like.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back 20 years. I've been in this business for 20 years. And when I started in the business, we had just moved into digital. We were still using tape, but it was mini tapes and DVI tapes. And so it was digital, but it was still using tape.
And that was like early 2000s?
Yeah, it was in 2000. I was moving from web design, which I was doing. And I wanted
Wait, what?
You
were an actor before. Now you're a web designer? What?
This is actually my third career. And yeah, first of all, when I was in high school, I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I was hit with the acting bug. I went to college to be an actor.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then in college is when I found out that just because you're the superstar of your high school, that does not mean squat.
Right. Oh, sure.
And and I'm sure I'm not the only person who found this out. I'm sure football players find it out, basketball players find. They made it the king of their school, they're king of their county, and then they get out there and they find out there is no shortage of talent.
Right. There are shrimp in the sea of talent. Dude.
So I found out fast in college that acting was, there was plenty of talent out there.
Okay.
And a lot of it was based on your look and who you knew. And I was 125 pounds, 6 foot tall as a string bean. I was not
super thin.
Super thin, dude.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not leading man material. I'm going to be stuck as the Frank Burns, when this was the 80s, so MASH had just gone off. So I didn't want to be the Frank Burns character. I didn't want to be the character everybody made fun of, because I certainly wasn't leading man material. I'm like, well, so I went into food service like most actors do.
Is that right?
Yeah, well,
behind the line.
Somebody tells me, "Hey, I'm an actor." I go, "Great. Where do you wait tables?"
Where do you? Yeah. Where was this in LA?
Oh well, I ended up taking a job delivering pizzas just for something to do, and I got pulled into the management program. I spent 15 years with Domino's Pizza. I went from being a driver to a manager to an area supervisor.
Really?
Yeah.
And this was during your acting?
No. I'd given up acting because I knew that I wasn't going to go anywhere except for, like I said, I'd be a character actor. I was not going to be the Clint Eastwood.
Sure.
And
why not, man? I can see you with that Magnum.
So I went into food service, and then I got out of food service by going to school at night, because food service is, we like to say, twice the work, half the pay.
Oh, absolutely.
So after 15 years of food service, I got a degree and I went into investment banking, of all things, because I have a degree in finance and a degree in management.
Really?
And so I did not have a film degree. Only time I ever set foot in film school was to help people on their projects, volunteer projects.
Okay, and that was okay.
So I was working as a investment banker in the 90s, and just in time for the .com.
So late 90s.
Bust. Late 90s.
Yeah.
And I was doing web design because back then it was easy. It was all HTML.
Sure.
It was all you were writing in Netscape and stuff like that. It was very easy. And Flash had just come out. That was really fun.
Right.
So I was doing that as a hobby. And then when the .com bust came, like a lot of other people in my business, I was out of work because
Really?
4 out of 5 boutique firms went out of business. Investment banking is glamorous in the movies. In real life, you're basically an accountant who's familiar with SEC regulations. That's it.
Okay.
And I drove a Jeep, did not drive a Mercedes.
I see. I got you.
And I drove a Jeep and a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And but I was doing web design as a hobby, and I really liked it.
So web design was on the side.
Was on the side.
Okay.
And then when I got knocked out of business, when all the boutique firms crashed and the dot-coms crashed, I thought I could do this as a business. So I started doing web design as a business in the late 90s. And I got really tired of going to places and having them say, okay, this is what we'd like, and what's it going to cost? And I would give them a $5,000 bid for a $15,000 website because I was freelancer,
Sure.
And they'd still go
Very much like now, right?
yeah, and they would go, Bob's nephew said he'd do it for $500. And I'm like, well, then why are you talking to me? Well, if you knew you could get it for $500, why'd you call a pro?
Right.
And
I guess they wanted to see the difference. Yeah.
But in 2000, there was no YouTube was 7 years away.
That's right.
There was no YouTube, so I taught.
It's hard to believe that now.
So you had to teach yourself. It was all books and manuals.
Yeah.
And so even then, I thought that video was the wave of the future. I thought that the internet was going to be nothing but a streaming platform for video. And this
You thought so back then?
Thought back, in '99.
That's very forward thinking of you, man.
In 2000, there was a place in town. It's been gone for about 2 or 3 years. It was called Showcase, and they sold all the high-end camera gears to all the news stations. They had the big beta cams.
Oh man!
And I wanted to get gear, and because I wanted to get out of web design and get into video. But I wanted to do it like a filmmaker. I didn't want to just do. I did not ever want to be a videographer. Ever.
Okay. What was the difference back then? Because I know so much now it's a little different.
Well, it wasn't too long before that. You had a camera and you had a cable and you had a freaking suitcase on your shoulder, and then you had to plug it into your beta deck. It was really crude.
Yeah.
So the mini DVs had changed all that.
Oh, everything more compact on the camera itself.
So I had started hanging around Showcase to learn the gear and made friends with some of the people down there. And through the course of my friendship with these guys, and I never bought anything because I was so broke at the time. I was doing web design, just got lost my job and all that. And they were talking about how they hated their website.
Okay.
So I went home, and over the course of 2 weeks, I built a website for Showcase. And then I'm thinking like a photographer for them. So I went and I printed up on color glossy, big old papers at Kinko's, which is now FedEx, Kinko's, or whatever.
Right.
So I made this portfolio. So I took it into Showcase, and I showed it to Kenny Chrysler down there. Hey, Kenny. And he was a drummer for a band that did fudge, I can't remember. They had a big hit. I can't remember. Now I can't remember the hit.
Really? It'll come to you, man.
It'll come to me. Sorry, Kenny. Don't hate me. So anyway, I show him the portfolio, and I had this speech to give to the owner because the owner was upstairs, and a pitch. And he says, I got to show this to Warren. So he goes up and shows it to Warren. And he comes down and says, Warren wants to talk to you right now. And I'm like, okay. And I go upstairs. And he's like 100 feet away. It felt like that. The office was one of those absurd offices where it's as long as the building.
Yeah.
And he's holding up this portfolio, and he's going, how the hell do I get this? And I'm like, oh, I don't need that pitch. I had this big pitch because I told him, I said, it's already built. I have it hosted.
It's ready.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
And he says, well, what's it going to cost me? And I said, that's the best part. I didn't want money. I wanted gear.
Ooh.
So I bartered, and he gave me an XL1S, and he gave me a boom and some carbon fiber sticks. And
he set you up.
Yeah, he set me up in business. Some people say you can't get started in business because you don't have any money. You ain't thinking good enough.
That's right. You got to think fourth dimensionally.
I knew that I could create a website for him that would just knock his socks off.
There you go.
And he did. They took the website, and they gave me a bunch of gear, and I did some more work, and then they decided they wanted to go really database driven. And I'm like, I can't do that. I wasn't a database guy. So we didn't part ways. It's just that relationship ended.
Sure.
But that's how I got in the video business with no money down.
Wow. You bartered.
bartered.
Used your skills.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. So you got everything you needed to start that venture.
Yeah. Well, almost.
Okay.
This is 2000, okay?
Oh, okay.
I needed an edit suite.
Oh, you got the means of production.
So
now you need post.
I needed post. Now, a good system that would cut back then was about $5,000.
What? To think about it now, $5,000 would get you an iPad, which you can edit on, and one camera with a couple of lenses, even a mic.
So you had to get also you had to cut in Avid.
Oh no!
Which was another $5,000 to $7,000
for that program.
Yeah. So I was into about $10,000 or $12,000. I can't really remember, because you had to buy other ancillaries to make it work.
What do you mean?
You had to have cards to ingest your footage. You just didn't plug it into a Thunderbolt or a
So you recorded on your cards? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, you had to put a PCI card inside your computer.
For it to even be able.
Because then you had to hook your cameras up to that card to ingest, and then you had to hit play on your cameras.
Oh, my word.
Because you would ingest what you shot in real time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so can you imagine us shooting with 3 cameras all day, and then you having to ingest that footage in real time?
Oh, my God. I want to cry, dude.
So that was a big barrier to entry. You had to have $10,000-12,000 to have an edit suite.
Just to even get
just
moving.
Just to start cutting. And that was another reason why I wanted to move into video, because there was that barrier to entry, because I didn't want to have, again, Bob's nephew would do it for $500.
Sure.
Fast forward to 2020 and 2019.
Yeah.
How many times do pros like us hear, what do you mean it's going to be $5,000? Bob's nephew will do it for $500.
Oh,
it's the same thing all over.
Yeah. Oh, it's just Amazon. Thanks, Amazon.
Okay, Amazon.
I appreciate it.
Did you bring anything from B&H? When I see I don't see, and that's Amazon. I mean, UPS. That's right. My UPS guy pulls up to the drive. I'm like, you got my B&H stuff? Look at Santa Claus. He wears a brown outfit.
That's right. He does for adults. Wow.
But so now here we are, where the industry is just like that. Because now you get yourself a DSLR. Mm-hmm. You get yourself, like you say, you don't even need a computer now. You can cut on your iPad.
Absolutely.
And now it's these little LEDs, and
right.
And
these cameras are so small and everything. We got these too, and I mean the two themselves, they were expensive. Yeah. There's still a big barrier to entry, because I mean, like, just 2 cameras for this show, it's like $2,500, another $1,000 each for the lens, $400 for the mic. So to set it up, it still costs a bit, but much less than back then.
So, like, it was about a year ago, I think, and I've had this conversation with you. They came out with the 6K Black Magic?
Last year?
Yeah, I think it was last year. It came out with 6K Black Magic for $24.95.
Really?
Yeah, so
that cheap?
It's $2,500.
I didn't know.
And I saw that come out, and I literally just turned off my computer. And I said, I'm quitting the business.
What?
I'm quitting the business, because now you can get a camera, and you can even get it with a PL mount. You can get a camera now to shoot a feature with cinema glass for less than it used to cost me to get a decent sized RAID to store my footage on.
Right. Oh, my word. That's insane to think about. Are you really quitting the business?
No, I changed my mind.
What happened to change your mind?
Well, I just realized I needed to stop thinking in the, I've never been a big budget filmmaker.
Okay.
I've always been, you've worked with me for almost 8 years now.
That's one thing we have to talk about too, because I met you in the middle of my senior year in college, man. It's been 7 years.
7 years, yeah. So, we don't work on the ginormous stuff, but we do like to light things right, and we like to move things, and we like to put things on a dolly, and we like to put things on a camera crane, and stuff like that. And, so I've always been of this. It's more than just a camera and a tripod. Sure. Because unfortunately, right now in this business, 90%, I would say 90% of people who claim to be a DP are just a guy or a gal who has a camera and a tripod. And they're calling themselves a DP, and they don't know anything about lighting or camera movement or composition.
Movement as well.
They know how to set it up, and half of them aren't even using manual focus. They're using autofocus and stuff. And so the only way you're going to beat that is to do things differently.
Okay.
And so, I think the days of $800 a day and $1,000 a day and $1,500 a day for being a camera operator or a DP, and those are gone, baby.
You think so?
I think they are gone, because one of the things is supply and demand.
Okay.
And now, even though I say that 90% of those people who claim to be a DP aren't, the 10% that do, they know what they're doing. And there's more, and there's more of these people, too. And they have the better technology. Yeah. They have there's so many outlets now where they can. YouTube and Hurlbut Academy and even Lynda.com, where you can learn about filmmaking. And of course, then there's all the other. You can get on Roger Deakins' forum.
There are master classes now.
Yeah, and you can get on Roger Deakins' forum and ask him a question, and son of a bitch, he's going to answer it.
Yeah, you'll tweet at him, and he can reply to you.
And he'll reply. The guy is great. It's insane. They have the tools, they have the technology. We can rebuild them. We can make them better than what's. Right. But so now there are a lot of people out there. So even if I say 90% of the people out there don't know dick, the 10% that do, there's a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
So now there's so many people, and you look at their stuff. And it's good stuff.
Sure.
But so when you go from having 1,000 people who are doing really good work to having 10,000 or even 20,000 people.
Oh man, it's boomed even crazier.
And you've basically got more people than you have work.
Right.
So, I know Red operators, freaking Alexa operators,
really?
Dragon operators. These, they own, and they're working for $500 a day. They're working for less than their cameras rent.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they don't work.
They just don't.
Yeah, there's not more, unless they're getting union jobs.
Right.
And who's working union jobs right now?
Very, very.
Nobody.
Few. Yeah.
All the shops are closed.
Well, I know of 3 productions that were made this summer through Netflix that were they called it successful because no one had gotten sick. But from what I understand, they were, to your point, bare bones crews. They sounded like a lot of numbers to me, but if you think about it, a Netflix show that has 25, 30 people, that's got to be a downscale of some kind. I can only imagine. Makeup and set and then DPs camera operators.
Get on any of the forums or any of the Facebook groups, and you look, and somebody's asking for a DP with camera.
Sure.
And they're putting it right up there, $500 a day. And a year or two ago, you would have seen all the people going, go screw yourself. Yeah. You can't. No one's going to work for that. You don't see that anymore.
Right.
Now you see people putting their names in there.
Yeah.
Because they need $500 a day.
Sure.
Because they're not working for $1,500 or $2,000 a day like they used to.
Yeah.
Before it was $800 for me, and then depending on the camera, I got
an additional.
You paid on that. No more.
Yeah.
That's gone. Now it's like you got to have a kit.
Right.
You got to have some gear, or at least know somebody. Me, I don't think I remember buying another camera again.
I was thinking the same thing, man. After these 2, I may get one more, but everything I'm just gonna rent.
Yeah, you either rent or you. Right now I know a Red guy, and I know an Alexa guy, and I know even got a guy who's going to the high-speed Phantoms.
Is that right?
Yeah, so and these are guys that I can call, and I call them fellas that sleep with their gear because they own them.
Right.
And, to me, when somebody says, oh, I'm an expert at Alexa, I'm an expert at Red, and I'm an expert at G5, and I'm an expert at this. No, you're not.
Right.
You're medium. You know your way around these cameras.
Sure.
Because you can't be an expert at all of these.
Right.
Any more than you can be
and be
eyes,
26.
ears, nose, throat, OBGYN.
Right.
You're just not going to do that.
Sure. You're a general
and I'm a
practitioner.
podiatrist.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a podiatrist, OBGYN, a brain surgeon, and no. Pick a specialty.
Right.
So like me, I know my way around a Red. I know my way around an Alexa. I know my way around a C300. Can I dive into those menus and tweak and do all that other stuff?
Yeah.
Hell no, because I don't work with those cameras enough.
Right.
But these guys, they sleep with them. Not really, but
They're
their cameras. They've had them. They shoot with them 24/7 or whatever, not 24/7, but they shoot with them all the time. They know them backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
And so I find these people, and it's like when somebody says, Jim, we want you to shoot, and we're really looking for a Red camera. And, okay, well, I've got this guy, and he's X a day. Oh, I don't know if we can afford that. Have you looked to see how much Red rents for?
Rents for, yeah.
So basically, you're renting it. He's coming along to sit with it.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of these guys are doing. They don't want to rent their kit for $500 a day.
Yeah.
Because they'll say, no, I'll come with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to make sure I'm the one who's taking care of it. Because if I'm going to have this thing out for $500 a day, I'm at least going to be the operator. I'm at least going to get the credit.
Sure.
For being an op or even.
Absolutely. Get the footage. Use it on your stuff. I don't blame them, man. So, I mean, to that point, you're seeing an abundance of people able to do the work and have the gear, but that's not what's bringing in the bacon. Yeah. So what do you think is in my mind? I think it's the content. So people now that even do sleep with their cameras, if they don't have a social presence of any kind, I don't see them getting work half as often.
Yeah.
I mean, because you do your own show too. Yeah. Behind the grip truck.
No, from the back of the grip. Now it's just called Grip Truck Extras.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was an evolution in the name here.
No, because actually the one that you filmed for me, that was really Tales from Behind the Grip Truck or something like that.
Yes. Right. In the hard drive it says Behind the Grip Truck. And then there was 2 extras I'd even forgotten about.
Yeah, and then
green screen and everything.
Oh yeah. And then I was doing the Pro Tools tips. The Cinema Pro Tools tips, where I did like the circle dolly and the 2 circle dollies and the overhead and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then I just came up with this other concept called Grip Truck Extras. And that's where I talk about things that you should keep in your kit that you wouldn't normally think about.
Yeah.
That are not going to be on your standard G&E list. Your grip and electric.
Yeah, that's right.
And because you got your spreadsheet and all the gear and stuff like that, but you can look at a G&E spreadsheet and rarely does it say mosquito repellent, or does it say receptacle tester, or hand wipes. They're not on there. So the whole series is about things you want to keep in your kit because they make your life easier, they make your client's life easier. Because a lot of it comes from working with your team at Outdoor Flicks. It's like you guys like to laugh that anytime somebody's sweating bullets, there I am with my umbrellas, and I'm putting umbrellas everywhere because you go the extra.
Sure.
And that's another thing that I think people are going to have to do if they want to get if they want to really succeed in this business, is they really have to exceed expectations.
Yeah.
Because unless you're on a union set, and you can't cross over to the other things, that you're just going to have to do the extra things. You want, like I tell the people that I work with, Eric and Chris and the guys that work with me, is you want to make them miss you if they decide, we don't need Jim and his guys this time. You want them to go, damn it, we should have brought Jim because he would have set up that video village and he would have had the umbrellas to keep us all cool and he would have had the production monitor. Yes, you want to spoil your client so that they will kick themselves if they don't use you in the future.
Right.
And, that's going to be another part of this business, is because I've had clients come to me and say the reason we want to use you is because we tried somebody else and they just think that acting is not. I had a client say that the guy who took over as a DP did not think that getting good performance out of the client's people was his job. He's a DP. It's not a director.
I see.
But when I get out there, and I even do it on your sets,
Absolutely.
I crawl inside the people's heads and say, hey, listen, this is what we want you to think about.
Sure.
Because I'm good with getting people to do a performance, especially
Absolutely.
in the corporate world, because they're not actors.
Right.
Well, this one guy thought, I'm DP. It's not my job to get a good performance out of this. It was a doctor, and he was crappy on camera. When I shot him, he wasn't crappy on camera because I would sit down and talk to him and get him to relax and do a good job.
Yeah.
Well, this guy that wasn't his job.
Right.
To me, it was my job.
Sure.
My job was to not only be the DP, but to help them get what they wanted.
Sure. Go the extra mile. Read the situation.
Yeah, so you have to do more. You have to exceed expectations, especially now when they want one person to do a job of 3.
Don't I know it, man?
So you better do the job of 4.
Yeah.
Because
That's the unfortunate way it's going down. I agree. Because, if I didn't know audio, I wouldn't have the gig I have now, let alone be working with the people I do work with. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. And same with video and editing, and now it's fucking color and mixing, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I feel bad for people that are trying to get into it now. That aren't multitasking.
You gotta do a bunch now because
and create your own content as well. Yeah. I've been liking the stuff you put out, man. I share it as much as I can. Hell yeah! How is the performance on that stuff?
Well, it's funny. I celebrated 500 subscribers, which is
that's phenomenal. I'm at 63, dude. I'm catching up.
I got 500 subscribers last month, and now I'm like almost to 700 because it's starting to snowball.
That's awesome.
And is
it reflecting in the views?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, mine was never about getting a big following. Mine was to have clients, and by clients I mean agencies, like you're with, is to see it and go, well, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
For case in point, I did the Circle Dolly, which was your gig.
That's right. A year ago.
It was longer. It was 2 years ago.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's been 2 years. So I did the Circle Dolly, and it's actually my most popular video. I think it's been seen 24,000 times.
Oh my! How did you do that?
I didn't do it because this is the funny thing. I've got the Circle Dollies 24,000 times.
What?
The overhead I think is about 12,000 times, and then everything else is like 100 or 200 or 300.
Oh my God! Thank you for coming on my show, bro.
You can have one video that just goes gangbusters.
Just goes nuts.
And then the other ones just don't do shit.
Did people leave comments saying why they like that?
Yeah. Well, the main thing that made it worth doing was I got a call from Lowe's. And they said, we want you to do a Circle Dolly for us because we saw what you did for the other company.
No fucking way. What'd I tell you, dude?
And they did exactly, because in the thing I'm telling you how to do it yourself. But if you remember, the lingo at the end was, now, if you don't want to do it yourself, this is just too much hassle.
Sure.
Call me.
Right.
And I'll do it for you.
Right.
And Lowe's said they saw it, and they thought, they originally watched it to see how they could do it themselves. And then they said, well, I think that guy's right. Let's just call him and have him do it.
So it was worthwhile, right?
So it was a 2-day gig, but it was just before COVID. But they were like, this was effortless for us. Because I picked it up, I brought it to them. Sure. We set it up. We did everything for them. They didn't know anything about dolly gripping, so we knew how to.
Did you shoot the piece as well?
Yeah, we shot the piece. They had a DP. Okay. And they had a camera. So we were basically grip. And but we set everything up. So
Yeah.
all the DP had to do was watch the monitor.
I love that.
As I or Eric pushed the dolly track around.
Yeah.
And we did like 4 setups, and it was, to them, it was effortless.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to do anything.
That's great.
Because you did it all. So they would go off with the talent. They had a trainer. This is all for internal. It wasn't for
like a piece
commercial.
Pushing out. Yeah.
And so they would go off with him and do some training stuff. And they'd show up and they go, damn, it's all ready to go. Yeah, that's why you called us. So it was worth it just to get that gig because, it was a nice gig.
Sure, I bet.
It was several $1,000s. So
that's awesome.
And I hope that because of the great way we took care of them.
Yeah.
The guy's shaking my hand when we're leaving. Oh, man, we're going to be using you a lot.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, so fuck COVID.
You and me both, man. I mean, but you're getting work. You're working.
That's the funny thing. I'm working when I did not expect to. And I'm lucky because I have another client that I'm on retainer.
That's right.
And it's a healthcare client. I really don't want to say who it is. But if it wasn't for that, I'd be, okay, did you get her a pepperoni and half mushrooms? There you go. Because, there's literally no commercial work going on.
Yeah.
You guys are the only other thing that I got going on with our outdoor stuff. And
well, let me tell you, I am just as surprised as you are with how busy we have been.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me knowing because I'm in there, but fuck, man. That's what you got to do. You got to hustle, baby.
So, I had another gig, and I needed to bring a whole team.
Uh-huh.
Called everybody. Everybody had gotten day jobs, working Comcast,
No way, bro.
restaurant stuff. So all the guys that I called, so I had to call the client back and say, remember you said you had this and this and this? Go ahead and call them because I got no one. So I was there. I was DP for this commercial healthcare company.
Sure.
And but I was just a DP because they didn't have an AC that could come. No,
Right.
It was a 5-day shoot, and I can't take 5 days off, dude. I got a job.
Right.
And so I'm just glad to have jobs because some of these guys got nothing.
Yeah.
And
let me know next time, man. I have people needing stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the time, especially when it comes to, both production and post. Mm. I mean, like you, I've had friends that I've had to float. You know how it is. It's like, well, this is what I have to work with. Can you do it? Yeah. And what used to be like, I've had people turn me down. Now it's like, please.
I'm fortunate that I learned to cut at the same time I learned to shoot.
Yeah.
Because most people don't cut and shoot. Now,
is that right?
Yeah.
Even now?
Even now.
Oh.
I
didn't know that.
Well, people who dabble in it.
I see. But not editor.
Not really good cutters.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes people like you and me better is, I think it was Janusz Kaminski who said he thought the reason he was a good cinematographer, I like to say he's a great cinematographer, was that he was a cutter first. I see. And I could see that because, we've worked on sets where we did not have storyboards. And you can recall times when I would go off and I would, close my eyes because I'm seeing, okay, do we have all the angles? Do we have it? Because I'm thinking like an editor,
absolutely, even
when I'm the DP.
Always. So
that's why I do not even recall a single shoot that we've ever been on, narrative, where it was, we missed this.
Right.
But I can tell you, I worked on stuff where I've kind of walked up to the DP when I was the key grip or a swing and go, dude, I just want to tell you, you're going to need this turnaround. You don't have to get from that shot to this shot and then just go, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm thinking like an editor, not just a DP. I'm putting I'm editing in my brain.
Sure.
And editors think that way, and so it's always a good thing to be a cutter as well as a shooter.
I agree, man. Yeah. The more disciplines you're able to, even if it's just an amateur dabble, you're using that knowledge to then make everything else better. It's true. Because Katie's been the lead editor for the stuff we've been filming. And she's been knocking it out, but she's told me, be sure to get this shot. And I'll even miss a couple of things just like little things too, like inserts. People won't think that, going through the trouble and grabbing this specific shot of me lifting my keys is important. But damn, you'd love it in the edit, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I'm proud to say all the stuff that we did, bless your heart.
Absolutely.
Never had to do a pickup. That 7 series, when I did the suspension of disbelief.
Sure.
Never had a pickup.
Same for
we
the
had
stuff
we had a pickup day because we ran out of time. We just had to do another scene.
Sure.
But we did not never had to go, oh, we're missing this transition.
Yeah.
We need this shot.
It was the same for the whole world stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Never needed a pickup shot at all.
Yeah, because we were thinking like editors.
Right.
And so you want to know how you become a cinematographer instead of a videographer? That's another part of my story that I didn't get to.
Okay.
I wanted to learn how to be a filmmaker.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't want to learn how to be a videographer. So this was before YouTube, but we did have some forums out there. It was all print. It's all text-based.
Uh-huh.
The internet has not been around forever, even though to some people it feels that way.
Yeah.
So I would go work on independent films, and I was lucky to get on some nice ones.
Uh-huh.
And even though they never went anywhere, they were done by DPs who knew what they were doing. And we had gear and equipment. We were working with Chapman Dollies. We were working with HMIs.
Yeah.
We were working with real crews. And but I thought I wanted to really learn fast because at the time...
That's how it is with everything, man.
At the time, I was 36 years old. So I started in this business. You gotta remember, dude, I'm 56.
That's hard to believe.
And so
you don't look a day over 40, bro.
Thanks, dude. So I'm 56. I've only been doing this for 20 years. So I did not make the transition into doing this until I was 36.
Okay.
And I wanted to do it fast. So I got on these sets, and I was helping things out. I'm lugging and, hauling highs around and putting up 20 bys and laying dolly track going, this is cool. Uh-huh. And then I decided I wanted to learn more about being DP and being a director. Well, I had that XL1S, remember?
Right.
So I went to the director and said, how about I film behind the scenes?
Okay.
And it was like, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Free behind the scenes, right?
For 3 pictures with this guy, I would be there and I would film the behind the scenes. But that means I got to hear everything that the DP said to the director and to his gaffer. So I started getting all the lingo, seeing why they were doing things.
Right.
So I not only got an education in the G&E part, because I had lugged this gear and plugged these things in and wrapped stingers and laid dolly track. Okay. Now I was getting the education from the DP side and the director side, so that I could think that way. So that's how I kind of accelerated my process going from being an investment banker into being a filmmaker, so to speak, because it was hands-on training, and plus it was like right on the arm of these guys. And
you said 3 pictures.
Yeah.
3 movies?
They were shorts, but they were filmed like, and it was film.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was film. We were
early 2000s, right?
Yeah, we were shooting film.
Oh my word!
And so that was a lot of fun. I mean, we had Steadicam operators. We had union guys. Wow. It was some kick-ass shit. And but anyway, so that's you got to find the people who are doing the work you want to do,
right?
And then go out there and do the work. And that's how you become a cinematographer instead of just a videographer,
right?
And you got to learn from other people. A lot of people think they can just go out there and wing it. It's like when the 5D came out, the Mark II.
Oh my God, no one would shut up
everybody,
about that.
And plus I remember how everything was like, it was cinematic weddings. Right. It's just like the only thing cinematic about these is depth of field.
Sure.
Cinematography is not just depth of field. That's just fucking depth of field.
Right.
And that's the thing that the DSLR revolution has done, is given people depth of field. So suddenly I'm a DP because look at these images. But it's just, that's not it.
Right.
Because you've worked with me. I'm like, bring in the hair light, bring in the backlight.
Yeah.
You got to bring in this stuff over here because, you can look at this shot. And that's one of the things I want to start doing is I want to start doing comparisons.
Okay.
Where I'm going to do a shot that literally is just bring the camera in and set it, because now with a A7S, you've got this. You can dial up the ISO and you can shoot practically in the dark.
Insane.
You don't even need lights. But so I want to start doing scenes where I show, okay, here's where we're doing available lighting.
Right.
And here's where we're just adding a little extra and showing the difference. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between being a videographer and a cinematographer. You got to know about lighting.
Right.
And of course, then you got to start moving the camera around. And
not even drastically either.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Fincher stuff. The reason why his films have a tone the way they do is because not really so much the movement, but he's following the actors. So I saw this video, I think Nerd Writer or another YouTuber did, where they were talking about how Fincher gets that tone, and it's all movement. And so like he used The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and there's like a scene where Daniel Craig basically slumps down and has a revelation in the film. Well, all the movement is a down pan following him down, but you could have pushed in, you could have swooped it around, you could have let static. But if you watch all of the shots, especially in that film and the films in the past few years, just subtle movements like that is enough to convey what needs to be shown.
Yeah, he likes to move the camera, but he also likes to move the camera in a way that I'm a big fan, is that he doesn't like handheld.
Right.
He's like, put it on a dolly. Right. You can put it on a crane.
Yeah.
You can put it on a slider. You can put it on a Steadicam, but do not put it on your shoulder.
Sure.
Don't handhold it.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, it's edgy. I mean, I've turned down projects because they said, I want to know I'm going to be your DP. I want to know what the look you're looking for.
Sure.
Well, we want it to be edgy, so we're thinking a lot of handheld. I'm like,
sure.
Not me. I'm not your guy.
I have to say that surprises me a little bit.
No, I'm not your guy.
Because you did The Office with us too. Remember that one?
Yeah, but
and that you knocked it out of the park. Like, because that style, there is some static for sure, but most of it is pushing in at the right time.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. My thing is, there's handheld for a reason.
Right.
And you say, well, we want it to be edgy. Is not a fucking reason.
Right.
That is, because like Jules told me once, said that I would like Daredevil. He said, watch it because...
The show?
The show on Netflix. He said, you're going to love the cinematographer for it. Oh. Well, he was being sarcastic, I think. She was being sarcastic, I think. I watched it, and I couldn't make it for 20 minutes. Uh-huh. And the thing that made me turn the show off was there was a scene... And it was obvious it was a dolly. It was a circle dolly shot. Uh-huh. So it was a setup kind of like what we are now, sitting at a small table, facing each other. Mm-hmm. And the camera started off to the left of me, and then dollied around in a circle, so it would be on you, back ahead, and then you.
Like a Tarantino type.
Yeah. So this this 360, not a 360, but 180-degree turn.
Sure.
But when they did it, it was obvious. It was handheld on a long lens.
Ooh,
so they literally set up a dolly and then sat somebody on the dolly with a long lens hand-holding because they wanted a handheld
look.
They wanted a handheld dolly swing.
Why not just walk it?
Why?
Yeah.
And of course, it was really tight. It was probably a 80 or even 100 millimeter. It was really, and it was this shaky shit. Oh. And I've never understood that because I've seen romantic scenes.
Sure.
And it comes over the shoulder and it'll be nice and slow. And then it'll switch to another over the shoulder shot coming back, and it's all. Right. And it takes you right out of the move.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this shaky? Give that guy another latte with extra sugar so he'll really shake.
Right.
It's like, first of all, don't handhold with a long lens ever.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to look like a sniper.
I don't even know then. Even like on a tripod, a long lens will shake.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
I don't understand this whole handheld is edgy. It's more realistic. First of all, that is bullshit. We have Steadicam programming built into our heads.
Sure.
You can run down the stairs, and if you pay attention to the way you see things, it's always smooth.
Always.
Our brain never does. And one thing it never does is it never goes in and out.
Right.
Because they'll zoom in and then zoom out. That's a reality TV thing that kind of spilled over.
Sure.
Because they even did that in the Bourne Ultimatum or something. I think they were like zooming in and zooming out. I'm like, what is this? reality TV show.
Yeah. Some people do even do that in post too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can tell.
There are plugins that you can add handheld shake.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Don't we want the stuff that takes the shake out?
Right.
So I do not get the whole shaky bit because it just takes you out of the mood. I'm from the old school, and I think it was in the 5 C's of cinematography, or I can't remember who the great was, but it goes like this. Any camera movement that makes the viewer, it reminds the viewer that they are watching a motion picture should never be done because it is taboo. You take the person out of the shot.
Sure.
So any movement that you do cannot remind the viewer,
the audience,
that they're watching a film.
Sure.
So when you're doing this around and
Yeah.
it's reminding the viewer that you're watching a film.
Sure.
So I'm like, yeah, you can move something, but do it like they used to do with the. Now a lot of it was because when you have big Panavision cameras, they couldn't handheld those things.
Sure. Yeah, in the old movies, those dolly shots, if you look at them in high def, they look like shit.
Oh, for real?
I saw one of Indiana Jones, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's a push in on him being all dramatic.
Yeah.
That would never fly today, how shaky that shot was.
And I know the scene you're talking about because I got a 9-year-old, so we're catching up on all the blockbuster movies I watched when I was a kid.
Oh, that must be awesome.
And there's even stuff like in Star Wars and stuff. You go, wow, that's pretty shaky. That was a shaky dolly shot.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't matter. You just throw that into one of your stabilization things, and
it'll warp it.
Yeah, warp that baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing lots of stuff that there's one of the scenes is on The Longest Day, the old World War II about D-Day.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a dolly shot when the troops are coming off the landing craft, and there's a dolly shot right up the beach, but this big cloud of smoke comes up. And as the dolly goes, you can clearly see. You see it for about 3 or 4 frames. The sun was behind the camera, so you can see the shadow of 2 guys sitting on a dolly.
No way.
And I'm like, I can't. I mean, I think I saw this about 2 years ago because that movie was made in the 50s. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I cannot believe I never saw that.
Yeah.
But now that I'm a cinematographer, I see things, how many.
And it's an HD too.
Yeah,
it's clearer.
and I'm like, wow, that's stop it.
Yeah.
Rewind it. It's
Enhance.
clear as day.
Yeah.
And, now I'm always the good one to find the boom, stick it in there.
Oh, sure.
So,
I've caught someone, we were watching Everybody Loves Raymond. And even though that's on soundstage, dude, they'll sneak in the boom in there. And it's the same thing for Last Action Hero, back early 90s with Schwarzenegger. Dude, there's a shot where they circle him, and behind him there's mirrors. And you see the Steadicam's spot guy, and the boom operator.
I'll have to check that out.
Dude, it's damning as hell. I don't know how they didn't catch it, but it may have been in the movie that you could see it.
Yeah, you see, like you said, you see things now that are in these blockbusters and these classics, and you go, oh wow, that's pretty shaky.
Yeah.
I'd have to smooth that out. Wait a minute, it was 1954. Okay,
Right.
Never mind.
Well, that goes to show that what's really important, in a film, is it the glass that you use, the camera you use. I wager to say that the writing is the most important thing.
Well, I actually thought about this last night when I was staring up at the ceiling.
Oh.
I said, here's something I want to talk about, and I almost missed it. You just reminded me.
Okay.
There's 3 things that you got to have for a good production.
Okay.
Whether it's a commercial, but especially if you're doing narrative. Okay, to me, the 3 things you got to have. You got to have a great story. You got to have great acting. And you got to have great cinematography. Here's the caveat to that. 2 of these can be bad, or you lose, let's say it's a bad story. 2 of these can be good, 1 of these bad. So you got bad story, great cinematography, great actors.
Terrible movie.
It's a terrible movie. You got great cinematography, great story, bad acting.
Oh, no.
Terrible movie.
No.
Terrible movie. You got great acting, great story, poor cinematography. you can still have a great movie.
Yeah, I can admit that. Yeah.
So you can not get away with bad acting.
No.
You cannot get away with a bad story. But you can get away with having poor cinematography, as long as it's not just absolutely terrible.
It depends. I mean,
mean,
it's the same with audio too.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Even more damning, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Even more damning can be the audio.
Yeah.
And that should probably be the fourth thing. But
Well,
that just shows that you can have great acting and great story and so-so cinematography and still have a great movie.
Absolutely.
But you can have a state-of-the-art movie
Yeah.
with great acting, and if the story is crap, then nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to want it because it's not memorable. No one's going to say, "Yeah, the story was awful, but oh man, the dolly shot that they had, the Steadicam stuff." No one's ever going to give a shit because you got to have the great story, great acting, and then of course you want the great cinematography on top of that.
I like it when they blend them. Have you seen a movie called Society? So it's a mid-2000s movie, I think. Maybe a little older than that. But it's filmed like, the only thing that I can compare it to is Twin Peaks. You seen that? David Lynch? So let me think of another. Mulholland Drive. You seen
I
that?
was never in television.
I'm sorry?
I was never into television.
I'm talking about film.
Oh, well, Twin Peaks was a show, wasn't it?
Yes,
Television.
but it was also a film.
Oh, no, sorry.
So, no, that's my bet. So, have you seen Mulholland Drive? What David Lynch movie has Jim seen? Eraserhead.
Yes.
There you go. So that guy, the way Eraserhead is kind of filmed, a little more abstract, but Society is like that. But it looks more like a TV drama, the film. And that TV drama, the acting from everyone but the main character feels, to your point, stifled, dry, on purpose, and all for a reason. And the protagonist is kind of like in the audience's shoes, being a little bewildered. And then throughout the course of the film, you find out why people are acting this way. But if you were just to turn it on TV and just be in the middle of it, you may not like it because you're like, well, it looks like a soap opera and everyone's acting weird. But dude, if you make it, it's so good. It's so good. I think you might like that one. That one that dabbles between all three of those three paradigms do it really well.
Because that was the thing I think was the success of the Bless Your Heart stuff we worked on. Because it was great writing. We were working with awesome cast of people.
Always,
Some of them are even Hollywood now, like Catherine Dyer.
Right.
So we had great actors. And we had an awesome sound guy. I can't remember who he was.
I have no idea.
He was pretty good.
I'm sure he was a bitch.
So great sound, great acting, great story.
That's what we
and
had
we
as
had
well.
Some pretty good cinematographers. I was not the only one. We had some others, and you DP'd one of them as well.
That's right.
So
I think you helped my guy Kevin DP that one because we had you there. Remember?
Yeah.
That was the one I directed.
Oh, so you were? That's right. You were director. You're not DP.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like the AD.
Yes.
And swing gaffer.
Yeah. I remember that one, man. That was the first time. One of the first times I had directed. Not even directed, but a crowd that big. And I remember going up to you, being like, "Jim, what should I say? I feel like I should talk to people."
I'll handle it. All right, everybody, this is what we're gonna do next.
Which I'm very appreciative, because that was a nervous one. I don't even remember. I didn't remember that until you mentioned it. But that's where we met. Was on a Bless Your Heart.
Yeah.
My friend Eric, who was my boss at the time at Whole World, I think helped me get contact with you because I was doing sound for you guys, and it was with Catherine Dyer. I think she was in one of them.
She was in two of them. I think.
Two of them, yeah. One in the police station.
Yeah.
And Sloan got some really, really kick-ass locations, dude.
Yeah. Maybe it was just that one. She was the detective.
Yes.
That couldn't get I don't.
It's been a while.
When you say, shut your pie hole, and she would get them all wrong. Shut your quiche hole.
That's right.
Okay, she'd get those. She would throw out these sayings that were just absurd.
Yeah.
She's great. She was so great to work with.
Dude, met a lot of people of that stuff. You included. It's hard to believe.
It's been a while.
Years.
Yeah.
6 to 7 years.
So fucking old.
I know it. I just turned 30, and I'm like, God damn it. Now there's a career change on the horizon.
Hey.
I feel you, dude. I understand.
You got 6 more years. I didn't change in my career until I was 36.
That's right. That's right.
So I may change again. But the thing is I love doing this.
Yeah.
So every time I think about I'm going to quit,
Right.
I'm like, well, where else do I have the reward
Sure.
of, because it's not just money. Certainly not
Right.
money, because we could make better money doing other things.
Lord knows.
But it's, when you work on set, then you go home and you're exhausted, but you're just like, man, that was a blast. That was so fucking fun.
Yeah. Well, that to me, I really feel it whenever it's all together and there it is as an MP4. I'm like, people don't fucking know what it took to get this to this point. The hours.
Yeah.
The man hours.
Literally, my first production I ever did was a reel for a cyclist. He did the spinner class.
Okay.
And I took a dolly. I made my own dolly, and I was doing all this exciting moves and all these pans. And I had a little makeshift camera crane, so I would start up high, and he would be on his bike, and he would do it, and I would crane down. I did all these cool moves that I had learned on the set of the films.
The film, yeah.
And then I started cutting it, and it was like so exciting because I was seeing this come together.
Yeah.
And then I put the music, and now this was before cheap music.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was doing acid loops. It was one of the first looping programs. So I was composing the music using loops.
Way.
But so seeing this thing all come together, and
Yeah.
then finally, when you're like, you're getting more and more excited because it's coming together and it's getting tighter and tighter, and you're learning that literally 2 frames can make a difference in a cut. I mean, literally shorten shit up, and the music is coming. And I was hooked right
That's
then.
so
By the time I
awesome.
was done with that, it was his promo piece to get more students.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm in love with this shit because
That's awesome.
and then it turned into doing airplanes and World War II documentaries, and it just got started. I wouldn't say lowly, this spinner guy, because he was a lot of fun to work with, and he had a great people that showed up, and I had lighting and everything, but then to go do narrative, and then I have flown in a B-17 with a tail gunner who flew over Berlin.
No way.
When you could see the Red Army coming in. I flew with a waist gunner who could look out over the Normandy beaches and see the troops running in on D-Day.
That's unreal.
That is a good day at the office.
Yeah.
I have filmed 5 Medal of Honor recipients.
What?
From 3 wars. World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
That's insane.
So I have met some excellent people.
Yeah.
I've met J.P. LaJoria, the founder of my mind is just going. I'm old man now.
Old man.
Big. I'm trying to think. Vidal Sassoon or something like that. I don't know. This is one of the big. He's a big guy in the hair and shampoo business. I've met the founder of WebMD. I've filmed Dr. J. I've met Jay Leno and palled around with him. Jay Leno, you are the coolest son of a bitch I've ever met.
A lot of cars, that guy.
He is so much fun. I have been charged by an elephant on a shoot. I have been charged by a leopard, and I have the shoot. I'll have to send it to you. You can put it in this. I still have the footage. It came out of the bushes and charged our vehicle, and it scared me to death.
Oh, my word. I bet.
You can see the camera move when he snarls at it.
Holy shit.
I've been to Iceland. I've been to Africa. I've been to Europe. I've been filming throughout Japan. I've filmed on both sides of the coast of Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And I've filmed all over the United States. And, so people ask me, what do I like about this? That's what I'm going to cut that out.
There's no editing on this show,
Spitting
dude.
on myself. So, it's the cool shit I've gotten to do because I've gotten, I used to shoot Playboy.
I didn't know
behind the
this.
scenes for Playboy. Which is a funny short story. It was first time we shot with them, we used a Steadicam, we used a crane, and we used a dolly. And they came back afterwards after they saw the footage and said, "Don't ever fucking do that again." Because they said it was too professional. It made all their other crews look like shit.
Really?
I'm dead serious.
They told you not to do it.
Not to do it. Said, do not do it. Said it's too good. Literally, they said it was too good. Playboy said it was too good.
Really?
And we had girls in Lamborghinis, and it was a hell of a shoot. And because my business partner at the time was good friends with a very famous Playboy photographer.
Ah.
And that's how we got the gig. But they wanted us to dumb it down.
Yeah, that's
They said they wanted to be
insane.
more voyeuristic. So literally, I swear I'm not exaggerating. I sent one of my editors who was not a very good shooter. He was an awesome effects guy and could do lots of good stuff. And he's very talented. He's still in the business, but he was not that great of a shooter.
Really?
So I sent him, and I did not shoot it. And he was shaky and all over the place.
They loved it.
Oh
my God.
Absolutely loved it.
That's so crazy.
And I'm like, But one time I was taking the guys to the shoot. They were all, this was in 2010, so I was
10 years ago.
It's 10 years ago. So I was 46, and these guys were all in their 20s, and I took them to a shoot, and you're not going to stay? Well, no, I've got some other stuff to do at the office. You guys can handle it, because the guy I worked with, Richard, he was my lieutenant. He was an awesome shooter, still is an awesome shooter. And I said, you take care of the shoot? And I'm like, I can't believe you're leaving a Playboy shoot. You're not going to stick around. And I'm like, dude, when I was in the bar business, I used to tend bar at Titty Bar, so it all looks the same to me. It's just another stripper hanging over the hood of a Lamborghini.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, look, I have flown in a P-51 Mustang, and then I used that line I used to you. I said, I've flown with a waist gunner who looked down over Normandy.
Yeah.
I said, this is just some stripper
Right,
draped over the hood of a Lamborghini.
Uh-huh.
That, working with those guys, flying in a B-17, now that's an excellent fucking day at the office.
Wow.
And they were like, well, when are we going to do the B-17 stuff?
Oh my God, dude.
So I've had a good ride in 20
Yeah.
years. I've had a good ride in 20 years.
Well, you got plenty more to go, bro.
Well, I hope so.
I think so, man. I think, like I said before, content's king right now. So those who not only have the gear but make it, I think are going to be the ones that, are going to be, for one, hired. Because it's not just about the gear or about the work at the technical skill set, but about the ideas. Yeah. That's one thing I see the big difference on now is I think my worth, just me personally, where I work now or wherever I work, doing my own stuff, my worth is not really so much on the technical know-how. I feel, to your point, even though, we're good at it, great at it even, over time, anyone that puts enough time to do that can do it. But what separates those people from us, in my mind, are the ideas, the way of thinking. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people could earn, even with time. There's only so many ways a brain could think.
I think the technology and the gear is going to shrink the need for bigger crews and stuff like that. I get a lot of resumes sent to me. I get a lot of reels.
Really?
Yeah, because
for people that
people that they see my reels and they see the stuff that I've done and they're like, Jim, here's my reel. I really want to work with you, because I guess a lot of them they think that I'm a bigger organization than I am. They don't realize that even though I have a company, it's really just a freelancer.
Sure.
And I work with other freelancers, bring in a team.
Okay.
So I get these reels, and this one guy sent me some stuff that he shot in Disney World.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw it, I was so pissed off when I saw this stuff.
Why?
Because, here I had, this is about a year and a half ago. Okay. Here, I've got a Red Epic weapon, 8K, that I can put on a Ronin because I've got the expanded Ronin, and I've shot with this 8K with Zeiss lenses.
Ooh.
And so we shot some really sweet stuff. And this clown sends me some footage that he shot in Walt Disney World. And he used an an iPhone, either 10 or 11.
Okay.
Shot it in 4K.
Okay.
A little $100 handheld
Stabilizer.
stabilizer gimbal.
Uh-huh.
Because it was fucking gorgeous.
It looked good, right?
And I'm just like, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
I said I could probably go down there and shoot with the red, and you would not be able to tell the difference because it's on fucking YouTube.
Yeah, right. The compression.
And I'm like, and it was gorgeous.
Right,
He
right.
had colored it, and I'm like,
oh, okay.
I'm like, dude, I fucking hate you.
It's pretty crazy.
And then I said no. Then I want to just freak him out.
Yeah.
Just like, it's gorgeous, man. You really shot that with a gimbal?
Yeah.
And an iPhone?
That's insane.
And he's like, yes. And he shot it at 60p.
oh, okay.
And it was amazing.
wow.
And then like, so the technology really is making a lot of stuff that we've been doing for 20, 30, 40 years obsolete.
Sure.
And I know we're probably running over, but a good example was the shoot I was with you when we were doing the Christmas shoot. And Bruce is telling me to go outside with a little Dracast panel, and we're going to have the sun coming up. And I'm like, you are out of your fucking mind.
right.
I'm going to need at least a 2K.
Sure.
And I got a 4K I can go get.
Uh-huh.
He's like, no, it's going to be enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're out of your mind. The only thing was, he was right.
Right.
It worked.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
he dialed the ISO of that camera way up so that when I'm standing up outside pretending to be the sun coming up, that's what it freaking
It
looks like.
super bright.
And I'm like, and that's why I got rid of all the 18Ks and the
Right.
12Ks and the 8Ks and the 6Ks and 4Ks. Because I would tell people I have 150,000 watts of HMIs, and they go, "Oh, that's nice. What do you have in LEDs?" I have 150,000 watts in HMIs. I don't have a fucking single LED.
How
Now
do
I
you feel
don't-
about LEDs? man?
I love them now. Because they've changed.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that we were being forced to work with
A
3,
few
4,
years
5 years
back.
ago,
Yeah.
the color, the skin tones are horrible,
Yeah.
and now that's changing.
Oh, much
You
more
look
so.
at this aperture stuff that's coming out, and even these Godox, these
Sure.
cheap things that used to have 80 CRIs now got 90, 95, 98 CRIs.
Yeah.
To me, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was unless it's a sky panel, I don't want to look at it.
Right.
Because people would show up with these flat panels, and I would be, you want to look through the monitor? You want to see what these skin tones look like with these crappy things you're bringing in here?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
But now the quality's changed.
Yeah.
Because the bar, people got sick of fixing it in post.
Sure.
So now these
dude.
these lights they're coming around.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making the full move in the LED. But
Is that right?
Yeah. But the problem is with the shrinking budgets,
It's gonna be tough
it is tough.
to accommodate. Well, damn, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think we've had a hell of a combo, dude.
I got to just put these on just so I can.
Just so you can hear yourself.
This is how I'm loving the sound of my own voice.
There we go. Could you hear yourself? Very little.
Very little.
Yeah.
But,
Nah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming by and sharing your story a little bit. We have so much stuff we didn't even touch on.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do another.
yeah, because maybe next time you'll bring the 6-pack.
I will. I promise. I promise. Well, I mean, do you want to plug your YouTube channel? You want to plug your channel? I can put it in the description.
All right. Well, it's hdpros.net
Okay.
is the channel on YouTube.
Okay.
And you could go to hdpros.net, but it'll actually just bring you to Cinematics HD, my company site, and it'll be my blog page.
There you go.
But because the problem with Cinematics HD is people can't spell it.
Sure.
So
It's a longer.
Yeah, it's a long, and they don't get the X instead of the C because it's not, and people go, Cinematics HD, Cinematics. You're with Cinematics. You have a tick.
I love it.
And hdpros.net. And I really enjoyed doing that. Of course, now I'm bringing my daughter in to him more and more.
I know, dude. I've seen the pictures.
yeah,
You're
and she-
turning into a little gaffer, man.
And she's actually helping to film. She'll run the cameras because we're on.
No way.
Yeah, she'll run the camera, and listen to make sure I don't do any peas because I'm not in my grip truck going, "Hey, okay, so today." No, that's not. But she wants to be a cinematographer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So I figure she's at 9 years old. She's already worked on several sets. I don't bring her to the paid gigs.
Okay.
But the free stuff that I do on the weekends, the fun stuff, the passion stuff.
Sure.
And people are amazed with her because she'll be down there taping. We did a dolly track setup where we couldn't use a dolly track. We had to tape the rails because it was through a narrow door.
Oh, okay.
And she's down there. I showed her how to do it, and then people are like, "What are you doing, little girl?" "I'm laying dolly track." And they were just like, "That's your daughter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she's amazing." I mean, because she will not just watch. She's whining stingers, and she knows she has to do it the right way, follow the memory of the stinger, and she likes to put up the caution tape, and she'll put the cones out.
Dude.
And then you see her little ass with the little 15-pound sandbag. It's 15 pounds. It's pretty heavy for a girl that weighs 45 pounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, she loves to go on set.
That's brilliant, man.
I've had people tell me she's going to be one hell of a third, and I said, no, she's going to be my key grip.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you brought her into the post?
Yeah, because I did a commercial for the healthcare company, and we were doing a phone. So we had, the girl was holding the phone. It was for video visits. So I had a green screen, and we had to replace the phone. And I was doing that in After Effects. And she's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm showing her. She says, "I want to do it."
Oh,
I said, "Are you sure? This is hard stuff." She said, "No, I want to do it." So I literally got up, stood beside her, and I talked her through doing the mapping and the where you do the tracking. So, and then talked her through the whole thing. She did the whole green screen replacement for this was a national commercial.
What?
And
no way.
She did it. Now she has one of my laptops, and she has Premiere on it.
There you go.
And I gave her a little flip camera that has the USB thing, plugs it in. So I taught her to do over the shoulder, so she'll do a puppet show, and she'll be over the shoulder.
No way.
And she'll flip, and so she knows medium, over the shoulder, close up. She does all that kind of stuff. So she is like so into it.
That's so dope,
and she's
man.
9 years old. So figure that by the time she's 16 or 17,
dude,
she's gonna have as much experience as people who are in their 30s.
Well, absolutely, she'll be running circles around me.
So
that's dope.
So she's like, because keep everything, all the expensive gear I keep in my house because you don't keep gear in your truck.
Sure.
So she's, what does this do? What's this? What are these lenses for?
That's good.
Because I got gear out my ear.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so she wants to know how everything works, and
that's awesome, man.
She's
gonna have to let her be a DP one day here soon on a short. Well, that's dope, man. Well, tell her I said hello, and I appreciate you stopping by, dude.
Okay, my pleasure.
I hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the talk?
Yeah, sure did.
What do you think about the format?
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, really chill. Yeah. She live edits. So that's what she's been doing is bam, 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 bam.
Cool.
Then we just throw it in Premiere, upload it. You'll be episode 29 next Saturday.
All right, sir.
All right. I appreciate you stopping by, man. You guys take it easy. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed Jim. Be sure to check out his channel. And we're coming up on his heels on subscriber count. Very slowly. All right. You guys take care. All right. Bye-bye.